1976, very early 1977, I made a series of photo montages. At that point, I was a student at Manchester Polytechnic, and I began to look at magazines that were around me, at print media, at advertising. And I suppose, and then that was before things like the style press. So male and female magazines were very easy to separate. For men, it was just maybe DIY, sport, cars, and pornography. That was the men's magazines. And there's probably, 20 publications maybe. For women, likewise, it was fashion, household. This was, I said, the style press did not exist. So I sat one day with I cleared everything away, pencils and paints, everything, and I had a very, very clean sheet of glass that I'd used for monoprinting, so I cleaned that, and I had a surgeon's scalpel and some glue, and I just began to cut out from the women's magazines and the men's magazines, like a sort of jigsaw puzzle. So I began to collect all the pieces, and I cut out lots of mouths and eyes, the women I saw in fashion, and all those kitchens, and all those living rooms, and those bedrooms, and I cut them all out. And then, of course, yes, turned my attention to the female form, as I saw within men's magazines, pornography. So I cut those out as well. And then really it was quite a simple act. It was what happens if you put these two together. And of course something very interesting happens. And you can be quite selective with the elements that you choose to combine. So that for the photo montage series that we see at Tate, there's 5 works. And they're really, on the whole, quite simple. The most well-known image is the one that eventually was used for the Buzzcocks Orgasm Addict sleeve. And there's this really a female torso with the addition of a Morphy Richards iron and 2 mouths. It's quite pared down. I suppose there's a very convenient and very easy date to mark when music really sort of moved from being something from out there that I'd listened to something that suddenly I was very involved in. An easy date for that is the first Sex Pistols concert in Manchester. I mean, that's, there's 200 people or so who were there, used that as a very easy marker. I was at this concert, and then my life began to change. So on that evening in June in 1976, I met the group Buzzcocks. They said, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was thinking, well, what do I do? And I said, I'm an art student. And it's, oh, well, will you do something for us? And it's like, oh, well, yes. And it's all sort of, well, why not? And so I began to think about doing some posters and things for Buzzcocks. And you got to know people very, very quickly. So there's a sort of, so people like the writer John Savage, who spent a lot of time in Manchester. And so John and I decided we wanted to do some sort of fanzines. We wanted it to just look and feel different from everything else. We wanted glossy paper, we wanted it to be larger format. And so eventually, after a long, long time to get the money, we made The Secret public. Even getting it printed was very difficult because none of the printers wanted to touch it because of the content. So eventually, yes, somebody in some back street in Manchester said, we will print The Secret public for you, but we want cash, and you don't get a receipt. And so we were so happy. We said, yes, please, print The Secret public. The centerfold of a sort of masturbating couple did become this odd pin-up for a generation, along with the montage used for orgasm addicts. So even now, I meet people, and their eyes, soften slightly, and they say, "Yes, I used to have that, that and that alone on my bedroom wall."